What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. So, after day one of the NFL Draft 2022 has come to a close, a lot of exciting news, and thankfully, there is some more exciting news for Indianapolis fans. There are a lot of quality players still left on the board at the second and third round at the positions that the Colts are looking to draft. So, we can take a look here. We're going to talk about some of the players that are still available at day two and talk about who we think the Colts could potentially go and get. I'll look at a bunch of different positions and things like that. But first, let's kind of talk about where we are sitting at for the round. So the Colts are sitting at the 10th pick in the second round, which is pick number 42, and the 9th pick in the third round, which is pick number 73. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do here. There are a couple scenarios where I could see the Colts either trading up or potentially trading back, depending on what their path is or what their kind of idea is how to attack this strategy. Not sure whether or not they're going to go receiver first or receiver second or something along that line, but we're going to kind of look at it here. So we were wondering, and we were saying, who are the best receivers still available, right? And there are a couple of guys here that are still pretty good. Christian Watson, Sky Moore, John Mechie III, George Pickens, and Alec Pierce, all guys that are still available for pick number 42 for Indianapolis. A lot of great picks here. And again, if you wanted to wait a little bit later to potentially get another wide receiver in the third round, there's Calvin Austin, there's Wan'Dale Robinson, there's David Bell, there's Khalil Shakir. So there are options here for the Colts to attack this either in the second or third round. Plenty of options here for these guys. The only problem you have is when it comes to these teams is that when you're looking at the first couple picks in the second round, of the 9 teams that are in the first round, or in the second round, I'm sorry, I could argue at least 3 of them are going to probably draft wide receiver, at least 3 of them. I mean, I would say Jacksonville may look. I don't know if they will, but they did get a lot of receivers in free agency. I doubt they would take one right now, but they could. Minnesota's not going to take one. My friend seems to think Tennessee might take another one. They did get Treylon Burks. They did get rid of A.J. Brown in the process. So maybe they double dip at wide receiver. They don't have many options, so maybe they might. And then you talk about the New York Giants. They need receivers to help Daniel Jones. You talk about the Houston Texans. They need to do it. So there's 3 teams right there. And then we know Chicago's going to want one, right? Because we know they're going to want one because of the fact that they obviously got rid of Allen Robinson. So you got 4 teams realistically that could draft wide receivers in this. So is it possible that the Colts actually have to trade up a few picks to actually be able to do that? I'd say it's possible, and especially with how crappy some of the trades have been for teams who are trading back. I mean, the Colts could probably sneak their way about 5 picks ahead right now and probably only give up like a 5th rounder or something, 5th or 6th rounder. I mean, with the way the trades were yesterday, I mean, hell, the Lions traded up 20 picks just to move 12 picks back in the second round and give up a 3rd round. I mean, that's insane. So if the Lions are doing that in the first round, then the Colts could probably get a decent trade up, at least a couple picks forward, maybe to jump Chicago before 39, maybe trading with New York to get into that 38 spot. Then you know that most likely only 3 of those receivers might get taken. You could talk about, maybe Christian Watson gets taken, Sky Moore, maybe a George Pickens, but then that leaves you an Alec Pierce or something along that line if you wanted to jump ahead to do that. Plenty of options there for Indianapolis at that second round. And like I said, there's third round options, like I mentioned. There's Jalen Tolbert, Calvin Austin, Wan'Dale Robinson, David Bell, Khalil Shakir, guys like that could find their way in the third round. Now, when we look at some of the other positions, only quarterback taken last night in the first round was Kenny Pickett. So that leaves you with Malik Willis, leaves you with Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Sam Howell. It seemed like if the Colts really wanted one of these quarterbacks, it seems logical that they could get one of them if they really, really wanted to. If they felt that their quarterback of the future is in this draft, they're in a prime position to be able to go and get them right now. Because, again, we all assumed Malik Willis was going to get taken in the first round. We all kind of assumed that. And so the fact that only one quarterback, that's Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis is still there. And, Matt Corral is still available. Desmond Ridder is still available. Sam Howell is still available. These are all guys that people have been saying, could go in the late first, early second. So, there's prime position for some of these guys. And again, I'm not sure whether or not the Colts are actually going to do this or not, because I don't know what their view is on these guys. But if they are looking for a quarterback, they're in a good position right now. This is prime position for them. But then when you want to talk about the tight ends, again, no tight end was taken in the first round. No one assumed that. But overall, we can assume that, a tight end might get picked at some point later today. We're talking about tackles. Raymond out of Central Michigan. Everyone has been mentioning his name. Best tackle remaining on the board. We'll see how that looks. Again, the Colts may say, Raymond may be the tackle of the future. Go get that and then get a receiver in the third round. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And then you got guys like Abraham Lucas and Nicholas Petit-Free and Rasheed Walker, Luke Gadecki, and all these guys. So, there's good options. And honestly, for me, I think the tackle market in the third round will still be available. I think there's going to be some good tackles still available in the third round, but we'll see about that. Overall, when we're looking at the best available players left in this whole second and third round for the Colts to get, Nakobe Dean is still available out of Georgia. A lot of people thought he was going to get drafted in the first round, but actually fell out of the first round. Very odd, but again, the linebacker market seemed kind of stale for a couple people till the end. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I honestly think Jacksonville could potentially take them with the first pick in the draft, but we will see about that. Obviously, Malik Willis still there. Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson, a cornerback. David Ojabo out of Michigan, outside linebacker. I'm sorry. And then we're talking about some of these receivers, right? Travis Jones out of defensive tackle out of UConn. So, there are a lot of great players here still available for the Colts to tackle and attack these guys in the second and potentially third rounds. I can even go as far as to say, when you're looking at like third round sake, again, Gadecki is, of the remaining players still left, Gadecki is the 41st highest ranked guy here. And, it really does depend on the position. Obviously, it's a left tackle, so maybe you might not see that happening. Maybe the Colts go corner in the third round. They get wide receiver, and then they get a cornerback in the third round. Tariq Woolen is there. Again, guys, a lot of great picks here that we can really see the Colts do a lot of great things in day two. I'm very excited. I hope you guys are excited to see the Colts finally make a draft pick. Thank you guys again so much for the continued support. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, guys, go Colts.